So for today, I want to learn. I want us to learn about basic mathematics, and these basic mathematics will involve addition, subtraction, use of number line, basic quadratic equations, basic indices, a number of basic arithmetics as we go on. So I want us to look at basic mathematics. How do we do that? For example, I will start by us saying, what if we have 5 plus 4? If you know the answer, then you will say 5 plus 4 is just equal to 9. But I want to assume, for example, there is somebody who doesn't know what is the response. Then you can just have a number line and say, if this is 0, then there is 4 here, there is 5, there is 6, there is 7, there is 8, 9, as you go on. So because we are adding, I start from 5, and because I'm adding, I move towards the right hand side. How many steps? 4. So I start from 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. I stop at 9, and that is my solution on number line. What if, for instance, I am subtracting? So this is, I am subtracting. Which type of number? For instance, I am subtracting 7, take away 3. For those of us who know, then you just know 7 take away 3, the answer is 4. But what if you don't know? Then I will say, I will start from 7, I move towards the right hand side. How many steps? 4. Towards the left hand side, 3 steps, since I'm subtracting. So I move 1, 2, 3. I stop there at 4 as my solution. So that is how then you can be able to involve both subtraction and addition of number line. But then while we do this, what if I have this type of number? Negative 7 minus 3. Ideally or logically, then you could just add 7 plus 3. The answer is 10, and put there a negative. That is what is your answer. What if you don't know? Then you go for a number line. Let's say I have negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10. So it will either I start from negative 7, I move backward or towards the left hand side 3 steps, since I'm subtracting. Then I'll say 1, 2, 3. I stop there at negative 10, and that becomes my solution on the number line. What if I have this type of a number? What if I have this type of a number that is written as 7 minus 3? Since I have negative multiplied by a negative, my solution is supposed to be positive. Therefore, this one becomes 7 plus 3, which is equal to 10. So before you carry out the sign of before you carry out the operation first, you change the two signs. Why negative negative? You get positive. Then negative times positive, I get negative. Positive times positive, I get a positive. Either way, if I rearrange this and have a positive multiplied by a negative, I will still get a negative. Meaning, if I have a question like E, for instance, I am subtracting negative 7 plus 3, I can still rearrange this question and write it as 3 take away 7. It still gives me the same thing. But then now what do? Here the answer is negative 4. Yeah? Negative 7 plus 3, the answer is negative 4. Or either way, 3 take away 7, the answer is negative 4. So either way I want to do it, I will still get the correct answer. That is if you know. But if you don't know, the easiest way, draw a number line. And a number line has arrows. towards the right hand side, towards the left hand side. Then you come and identify, let's say for instance, this is our 0. So -1, -2, -3, -4. Then here I have 1, 2, 3. Because 3 is positive, then I start from 3, I move how many steps backward? 7. That is if I'm working out -7 plus 3. I can still rearrange it to appear as 3 take away 7. Therefore now I'll say I start from 3 here, I'm starting from here, I move backward 7 steps because I'm subtracting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I stop there. What is the answer? -4. So that is how you can be able to use the number line to solve this basic mathematics of addition and subtraction. Whether you have a negative number, adding to it a positive number, or whether you have a negative number and a negative number being subtracted from each other, then you have to know before you subtract that. Another example, what if you're working out this one? What if this is how your question looks like that you're supposed to solve? For instance, question F, -5 minus 4. We said if you have two signs of operation that are the same, you change the path. So this expression will be written as -5, negative, +4, which I can as well write it as 4 take away 5, which is equal to -1. So that is how it's supposed to be. And either way, you can as well have this +5 plus +6. Simply means they are negative. So whether it is written like this or whether it is written as 5 plus 6, they are the same. This one and this one are the same. If a number is written without any sign coming before it, then it means that number is positive. Either way, if it is written with a positive sign coming before it, it also means it is the same. Then what are you saying? 5 plus 6 is the same as 11. So I've said if you know how to get the answer directly, get it. If you don't know, go on a number line and simplify your work. Start from, let's say we are saying we have 5 plus 6. So then I'll have to identify where my 5 is. Let's say 5 is here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and probably 11, and finally maybe 12. So because I'm adding 5 plus 6, I start from 5, I move 6 steps towards the right hand side. That is because I'm adding. I want to assume maybe my 0 is somewhere. So since I'm adding, I have to do that. Then I just move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm assuming my 0 is towards this other end, so therefore I'm still moving that. So that becomes what? It becomes 11. Yeah, so it will become 11. And because I'm stopping at 11, I indicate with an arrow that I am moving from +5, adding on 11 values. So that is what you're supposed to do, especially if you're dealing with what? With the basic mathematics, or if you're adding either way. So you're supposed to know how to use a number line and how to be able to add those particular numbers and be able to get what? To get a solution. So what if I was to pause and let's say, for instance, I asked you to do for me this? Would you be in position to do that? Let me give you a number of 2 or 3 questions to add and subtract for me using a number line. H, -8 minus 5, I, -9 plus 4, I, J, what if I tell you -10 minus -6? Try this at your own time and see. How will you be able to solve them? Can you be able to remember what I've just taught you? Then you see if you can be able to do that or not. If you can be able to do that, then it means you understood the lesson. If you can't be able, you still have the time to review through the lesson and see what we did, then you can be able to solve that. That is okay. About basic mathematics on rational numbers. So that is okay. Another basic math that I want to talk about is what you call solving algebraic equation. Solving algebraic equation. And I'll look at the basic ones, starting with one-step equation, two-step equation as we move on. So, one-step equation. A one-step equation will simply mean you move one step and you have the answer. For example, x plus 3 is equal to 6. This is a one-step equation. Why? Because you will simply take this 3, this other end, and you have the answer. Therefore, if I have x is equal to 6, take away 3, x is equal to what? 3. That's a one-step equation. You see? What if I have, from number 2, 3x is equal to 18. So I'm solving 3x is equal to 18. It's just one step. Divide both sides by 3. You see? Another one-step equation. 3 here, 1, 3 here, 6. So here, the answer is what? The answer is 6. One-step equation. Another example of one-step equation. Another example of one-step equation. For instance, I have, let's say I am talking about 4x is equal to negative 28. I want to find the value of the variable x. So 4x is equal to negative 28. I simply divide both sides by 4. A one-step equation. X is equal to 4 here, 1, 4 here, negative 7. And that is the solution. One-step equation. You don't move too many steps. You move only one step and you get your answer. What if I have the fourth example on one-step equation? That I have negative 3x minus 3 is equal to minus 6. So I'm looking for the value of x. So therefore I have negative 3 is equal to negative 6 plus 3. This one is negative. When it crosses equal sign, it becomes positive. Therefore, negative 3x is equal to negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. So I divide both sides by 3 like that. So, and 3 is negative also. So negative, 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 negative. 3 here, 1, 3 here, 1. So the value of x is what? The value of x is 1. So that is it with what you're calling what? One-step equation. So that is how you can be able to solve this one-step equation. I want to go ahead and give you examples of one-step equations for you to try and solve at your own time. Therefore, evaluate. So these are examples for you to try and solve at your own time. Evaluate 3k is equal to 15. That is question A. Question B, 4j minus 4 is equal to 0. C is equal to another type of question, negative 3x, negative 13x is equal to 39. Then I have question D, 4x is equal to 64. Try and solve this at your own time under what you're calling what? One-step equation, and see if you can be able to remember what I've just taught you about how to solve one-step equations under algebraic what? Equations. When you talk about algebraic equations, algebra is part of mathematics that will use both constant numbers and variables. So, and I already told you in one of my lessons that when a constant number is multiplied by a variable, that constant number is now called a coefficient. Therefore, this 3 is a coefficient, k is a variable, while 15 is a constant. The same thing here, 4 is a coefficient, j is a variable, while 4 is a constant number. So I want you to try and go through this and see if you can be able to recall and solve this, what you're calling what? One-step equation on your own. Thank you for following through. I want us to try and solve two-step equation. Two-step equation. In most cases, many students may not be able to identify. I hope you've seen this. So I want you to take your time and go through it and try and solve it and see what you'll be able to, if you'll be able to solve. So I want us to look at what you're calling what is two-step equation, solving algebraic two-step equation, and see what is involved compared to when you're solving what? A one-step equation. So two-step equation, I'll start by just looking at examples. It simply means you move more than one step for you to get the answer. For instance, I have 4x plus 2 is equal to x is equal to x. If I have that is equal to x, then plus 8. I want to solve that. So the first thing I do, I collect like terms on one side. So this x, I'll bring it this side. So solution for that, 4x, bring the x this side, it becomes now negative, is equal, take the 2 on the right hand side, 8 take away 2, since the 2 is positive, 8 take away 2, this one here will give me 6, is equal to 4x take away x is 3x. Then I go ahead and divide both sides. So this is the first step. The second step is now simplifying. X is equal to 3 here 1, 3 here 2. So the value of x is what? Is 2. The good thing with the solving algebra questions, you can be able to prove whether my answer is right or wrong. For instance, if I take 3 times the value of x, I must get 6. What is the value of x? 2. So 3 times 2 is equal to 6. I'm correct before I even submit my work to the teacher. So this is my first example on two-step equation. The second example of two-step equation, then I'll work it out as, I want to write this 4 out of 5x, yes, plus 2 is equal to, plus 2 is equal to 12. So what do? I'll try and collect the like terms first. Therefore, I have 4 out of 5x is equal to 12, take away 2. That is the first step. I get 10. I'm looking for the value of x. Therefore, I have 4x out of 5. I need to remove this. So what do? I multiply by the reciprocal of that. So to remain with the value of x. So the reciprocal of this will be, I have multiplied by 5 out of 4. Multiply by 5 out of 4 on both sides of the equation. So this and this and this, here 1, here 1, here 1, here. Therefore, x is equal to, what do I have here? I use common factor, 2 here is 2, 2 here is 5. Then I multiply, 5 multiplied by 5 is 25 out of 2. I simplify this, here 1, here 12.5. That is the value of x. So you've got to know what is it that you are supposed to do as you are solving what? Two-step equation. I want us to try and solve another example of a two-step equation. So this is example 1 with the solution up to there. Example 2 with the solution up to here. So I hope you're following through and also you are able to understand. Now, example 3 of a two-step equation. Example 3 of a two-step equation. How do we solve it? So this is example 3. Let's say I have 13x, take away 13 is equal to 13 is equal to 13. Yes, it's equal to 13. Yeah, is equal to 13. Let's say that is our case scenario, or what we have at hand. So we are supposed to solve this question. So the first step is collecting like terms. So I have 13x is equal to 13 plus 13. Since this 13 is negative, I add this, 26 is equal to 13x. And since I'm looking for the value of x, I divide both sides by 13 like that. Here 1, here 1. X is equal to 13, here 1, 13 here is 2. And that becomes my solution. So that is how you solve that two-step equation. That is the third example that I'm giving you. The fourth example of solving a two-step equation will look like this. The fourth example, let me say I have 3x minus 4 is equal to 2x yeah, is equal to 2x. Can still say this is negative 2x, yeah, then is equivalent to plus 6. So the first step that I'll do is I collect, this is our fourth example, I collect the like terms on one side. So I have 3x, this 2x is negative, when it crosses equal sign it becomes positive, it comes to the left hand side, is equal to 6. This is negative 4, when it crosses it becomes positive. So here I have 10 is equal to 5x, 3 plus 2. So you only add the numbers, then attach on it the variable x. I'm looking for the value of x. How and why? 5x is equal to 10. I divide both sides by 10 to get the value of x. That is how I get the value of x, because I want to remain with x alone. X times 1 is x is equal to 5 here 1, 5 here is 2. So that becomes our solution for our fourth example of a two-step equation. Now, it is time that as a good teacher, when I've taught, I give you some few questions on two-step equations. You try and solve them and find the values of the variables. Solve this. Number 1, 3x plus 5 is equal to 3x plus 5 is equal to 2x is equal to 2x plus 10. 2, 16y minus 28 is equal to minus 28 is equal to 9y is equal to 9y is equal to 9y. Question 3, what if I have 15x plus 10 is equal to 25? So try and solve this two-step equation that I've given you. I've given you only 3. So you try and solve that and see what are you also able to solve that. But then if you can't be able to recall how to solve this, the good thing is, as a good teacher, I have already given you examples that now you will go through and see how are we able to solve these two-step equations as we move on and on and on. That is good, and thank you for following through that. Now, so that is it. That's how you solve algebraic equations. Now, after looking on how to solve algebraic equations, then these are the basics, and you can see they are linear type of equations. When you talk about algebra, we have quadratic equations, we have linear equations, and we also have cubic equation. Now you need to understand that when you are talking about these different types of algebra equations, let's say for instance I am talking about what we call linear algebraic equation. Yeah, linear algebraic equation. Yeah, so for a linear algebraic equation, the highest power, that's what you need to understand, the highest, yeah, the highest power of x, the highest power of the variable is 1. The highest power of the variable is 1. So that is it, is 1. The highest power of the variable is 1. For example, 3x plus 2 is equal to 6. This is a linear equation. What about if I'm talking about quadratic? Yeah, quadratic algebraic equation. So for quadratic, the thing is the highest power of the variable is 2. The highest power of the variable is 2. The highest power of the variable is 2. I want you to know those differences before you even solve them. The highest power of the variable is what? Is 2. So you need to know that. The highest variable of the power is 2. Example, if I have 4x squared minus 16 is equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation. But then how do you solve that? You see, this is called a difference of two squares. If I have a squared minus b squared, then it is the same as a minus b into bracket. the second bracket a plus b. So that is how I factorize this. The square root of a squared is a. The square root of b squared is b. So I write the two square roots into two brackets with the opposite signs. One of them positive, the other negative. Then I solve it. So if I have this, what is the square root of 4? So if I'm solving this, then you got to know that what is the square root of 4? 4x squared minus 16 is equal to 0. So the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 16 is 4. I'm trying to factorize it. Then the other bracket will have, again, the same components, but with a different sign here, which is now plus. So 2x plus 4. Everything is equal to 0. Then I equate each bracket to 0. So 2x minus 4 is equal to 0. Or the solution will be 2x plus 4 is equal to 0. Then I go ahead and solve. So I start with the first one. 2x is equal to positive 4. This is negative. When it crosses equal sign, it becomes positive. The second one. Or I'm talking about 2x is equal to negative 4. This is positive. When it crosses equal sign, it becomes negative. Then now finally, I get the two values of x, the two roots of x, that is. So 2x is equal to 4. I divide both sides by 2 like that. So x is equal to 2 here, 1, 2 here, 2. The next solution of x will be 2x is equal to negative 4. I divide both sides by 2 like that. So x is equal to 2 here, 1, 2 into negative 4 is negative 2. So these are the solutions to the quadratic equation. So you've got to start understanding that then when you're talking about a linear algebraic equation, the highest value of x is 1. And if you move a little bit behind, I have been solving basic algebra, one-step equation, two-step equation. Those are examples of linear equation, how to solve that. Then quadratic equation. When you're talking about quadratic equation, the highest power of the variable is 2. So 4x squared minus 16 is equal to 0. This is a difference of two squares. So then you've got to know, how do I approach this? I have already taught you how to approach that, especially if you're dealing with that, a difference of two squares. It is not just that. Mentioning that, this tends to confuse students, and I will want to elaborate on it using quite a number of examples talking about a difference of two squares. For instance, another example of this talking about questions that talk about what? A difference of two squares. There are very many difference of two squares. Difference of two squares. If I talk about this, it is still the same case. 1 squared take away 9 is equal to 0. These are difference of two squares. One, this is a perfect square, subtracting from it another perfect square, 9. So the square root of y squared is y. The square root of 9 is 3, one bracket. The second bracket, you write the same square root, y and 3. Then write different signs of operation. If one bracket has subtraction, the other one has addition. Then equate each of them to 0 to find the value of y. Y squared or y plus 3 is equal to 0. Then what next? We find the solution. Y crosses to the other side, to the right hand side, it becomes positive. While here, when y crosses, it becomes negative. Therefore, y is equal to 3 or y is equal to negative 3. So these are the solution, the values of y, a difference of two squares. I can go on and on and on and on, giving more examples on a difference of two squares and how do you solve them. Yeah, a difference of two squares and how do you solve them. So here, these are the answers. For example, another scenario I can have, it could be a question like 4x squared minus 64 is equal to 0. You can see, still I'm talking about, this is a perfect square, this is a perfect square, everything equal to 0. So then I'll say 4x squared minus 64 is equal to 0 can be represented as the square root of this is 2x. The square root of this is 8. One bracket, subtract. The next bracket, the same components but with now addition. 2x plus 8, everything is equal to 0. Therefore now I'll come and say equate each of these two to 0. So 2x minus 8 is equal to 0 or 2x plus 8 is equal to 0. Then I go ahead and say 2x is equal to 8, or 2x is equal to -8. We now solve by dividing. 2x is equal to 8 out of 2 out of 2. So x is equal to 4. Or for the last one, that is the first solution as the value of x. The next one, 2x is equal to -8 out of 2 out of 2. So the next root or the next solution for the value of x is what? Is -4. So that is how you follow through. But as a good student and as a good teacher that I am, I will always leave you with work and tell you to try and solve this. These are questions involving a difference of two squares. The first question, a squared minus 36 is equal to 0. Second question, b squared minus 16 is equal to 0. Maybe I use another number because while I was doing my examples, I used 16 somewhere. Therefore, I'll use that. Then c squared is equal to 4c squared minus, let me use a number like 81. Okay. That is okay. 81 is equal to 0. Then lastly, the last question, 16d squared minus 64 is equal to 0. So try and solve for me this difference of two squares. Yeah, a difference of two perfect squares equal to 0. Follow the example that I've given you, and if you're not able to recall it, you can still go back and check through the examples on how I've solved. But then this is a perfect square, subtract a perfect square. This is a perfect square, subtract a perfect square. This is a perfect square, subtract a perfect square. Same to the last question. 16d squared minus 64d squared is equal to 0. So all of them are perfect squares. So that is it as you prepare for your exam. Revise as much as possible. Mathematics requires consistency in revision. It requires what? Consistency in revision. When you are a footballer, you go to the field every day to practice. Yeah? And the more you practice, the more you become perfect at playing football. So the same case will also apply when you are solving what? Mathematics. That make it a routine. Make it your habit that every day, at least before you go to bed, you've solved at least 2 questions. It keeps your mind active. Just the same way they say when you're playing football, mathematics is also a game, but now it is a game of numbers. And the more you do it, the more you become perfect at it. The more you perfect, the more it makes your mind to be active. That is the good thing with being what? With being a student or a person who enjoys doing mathematics. Therefore, keep on practicing, keep on researching, keep on doing as many questions as possible, and you will become perfect at it. I've always told my students that nobody was born knowing how to deal with numbers. Nobody was born knowing how to create numbers in the head and being able to play around with them and find solutions there. That anybody, you've got to do it every now and then. Consistency, persistence, patient. It will lead to improvement in your mathematics score. So keep on playing with those numbers, keep on trying every day. And my advice to any mathematician out there or any student who wants to do well in math, whether you are at the primary level, whether you are at secondary level, whether you're doing a university, whether you're doing a college, whether you are in a technical institute, mathematics is the basis of all the subjects. Once you become good in math, you will automatically pass all the math, all the examinations across. You will be good in physics, you'll be good in chemistry, you'll be good in biology, you'll be good in English, you'll be good in history, you'll be good in religious studies, you'll be good in social study, you'll be good in guiding and counseling, you'll be good in physics. All these, why do I say so? And even in biology. Each and every subject that you're studying at whatever level that you are, it has a math concept. All of them. None of the subjects that you're doing. Not only that, but then also we are saying, the more questions that you solve in mathematics, the more you open up your mind. You see? And once your mind becomes active, it is able to consume everything. Therefore, keep on researching, keep on working hard. Where it is not working, research, ask your friends at school, ask your teachers, and math will be your favorite subject. And believe me, once math becomes your favorite subject, then you are good to go. you are good to get that A plus in your exam. Once you score an A in maths, then the rest of the subject will follow suit and you are able to get that good grade that you desire for and go ahead and do any course that you desire to do in life. Whether you want to be a doctor, math is a requirement. You need to have an A in math. If you want to be a teacher, now that is a teacher of math, you need to have done well in mathematics, at least a C plus, for you to be allowed to teach math. If you want to be a pilot, you need to be good in mathematics. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we are saying it is possible, it can be done. If you want to be an accountant, so think of any good career across, it requires you to be good in mathematics. So math is the way to go, and we apply math in very many scenarios in life. So keep on doing it, never give up. It is possible. From us as teachers, we are saying it is possible, therefore keep on doing it. Thank you for following. I look forward to meet you during my next video. Please hit that subscription, like and share, as we also try as much as we can to bring you a lot. We will also want to compare and see what is it that you can improve on our daily basis. So thank you so much for following.